Back at it again. The Haiti Economic News Show, Monday to Friday, bringing you news. I'll keep you informed, engaged, and reacting in the most optimal way for your business, investment, and entrepreneurial activity. Right? Today is the 5th of April. Let's jump into it. So what we have going on, right, is something that, you know what, it brings a little tear to my eye, a little tear. I get a little tear in my eye. Here's why. We actually have the government doing something it needs to be doing. Now, it only took two big crises, big massive protests, a level 4 advisory, okay, and a constant shortage of fuel for it to finally figure out, maybe we got to change things, right? But nonetheless, it's changing things, and I take a basket of goods, no matter what the excuse is. You understand? So what the government has finally decided to do is to remove BMPOD. Now, what is BMPOD? Right? BMPOD is the Office of Monetization of Development Programs. Right? The Office of Monetization Programs, or Bureau de Monétisation de Assistance Programs. Right? Of monetization. And so the goal of that particular bureau has been back in 1985 when it was established. Okay, it was set up specifically to handle foreign aid, right? To the government, when they negotiate something and then it actually receives it, it would manage the distribution and the execution of that foreign aid vis-a-vis what was agreed on in that particular treaty, right? Now, in 2007, they grew that responsibility because of their engagement in the Petrocaribe program of Venezuela. And Venezuela required that for the fuel that they were getting, it passed through the government, because ultimately it was a government assisted program. Because before then, fuel was very liberal or direct, it's very free market. And so what you had these distributors were able to go directly to sellers of oil and fuel and diesel and gasoline and purchase it. That changed. Of course, it was a big fight. One reason why Rainer Preval ultimately his party was ousted in Juicelistan in the last election was because the United States still had very hurt feelings from that excursion away from what they wanted, which again they didn't want us dealing with Venezuela. As you've been following the news currently, there's a big to for toppling of that government, right? And so René Preval unfortunately was on the wrong side from that perspective. But still, we're paying for it because, as you know, the big corruption scandal that happened ultimately was because of the mismanagement of that. And recently, we've had Venezuela back out, right? And Venezuela has backed out that program because ultimately they are having such massive issues with their oil company, both in terms of extracting, exporting, and just general issues with their economy. They can no longer support that massive subsidy program that they're providing their Caribbean partners. And since then, BAMPOD has been in a role where it still manages fuel imports in the country, yet there's not a reason for it to, because remember, it was in that market because of the special program of Venezuela. And since it ended about a year some change and plus ago, there's no reason for them to be in there, right? But yet they still were. Can you blame them? Fuel and oil is a massive cash cow, and who wouldn't want to keep their claws in there? But there's been issues because the way they've, surprise, surprise, mismanaged that issue. They've required the distributors to pay in U.S. even though they're making it in good, despite this was at the time when we had a enforcement of a law that said everything had to be done in good in the country, everything had to be labeled in good in the country, right? But yet BMPOD was simultaneously demanding, hey, everybody, I need y'all to pay me in dollars, right? So that didn't make sense, especially given that the devaluation of the good that was going down. And BMPOT has continued to mismanage, right, in face of the fact that distributors just don't want to deal with them, right? And distributors, aren't paying their bills in protest of the mismanagement of BMPOT. I mean, that was going on for a while. BMPOT recently announced that distributors had to get a line of credit from a bank to even deal with them because they were tired of them not paying, right? So it's been a colossal cluster, right? Colossal. But recently, the interim prime minister announced yesterday that they're getting out that market. They announced that they're about 75% into the process of liberalizing the oil market, i.e., getting BMPOT out of there and allowing distributors to directly purchase their fuel from the market as a whole, which, again, I am ecstatic. I mean, if I could do a little shuffle and dance, because, again, the Haitian government has no reason to stay in there. I get why they were in there before, but now, without Venezuela and without any other reason, they need to get out, because it's been tough. I can tell you, there's been massive queues in Haiti. There's been massive fuel shortages. Our electricity grid is in very large part run by diesel fuel. Okay, and since we've had these difficulties of importing fuel, electricity has been every other day plus one sometimes, and so I'm looking forward to them finalizing that process, getting BMPOT out of there, and returning to a bit of normalcy in Haiti when it comes to fuel, because it is frustrating, I can tell you. So I don't know. Should the government stay in the market and be a direct component, or should they just back up and at least just be a regulator in the sense that ensuring fuel prices are correct and being enforced? I don't know. You let me know. Drop a comment below, right? Analysis. So what does that mean to you, the investor? What does it mean to you, the person trying to do business in the country, with the fact that finally we're getting back to a liberalized policy in fuel? It means you can do business, right? It means things should be alleviated on all fronts, from your transportation to your electricity to just your day-to-day. And so this is something that's needed at a fundamental level. And one of the things I was just absolutely grinding my gears was that it wasn't being done. And so there's not much analysis other than the fact that, because again, fuel in this country is the glue that keeps everything. So this is just information that is just really, it should be really encouraging to you that this is happening, and should allow business hopefully to return to a level of normalcy, and hopefully also reduce the amount of instability, because one of the reasons why folks were so angry in the streets was this fuel issue. There's a lot of reasons why folks are mad, but certainly that was a big reason. So that getting a degree of normalcy there is going to take a big chunk towards stability in the country. If you like what we're doing here every day, Monday to Friday, you know what to do. Give us a like, do a subscribe, share it to a friend that you may think may find our information valuable, right? And until we're back at it again, we'll be back at it again.